Hi, my name is Brenda, and I'm going to be talking about Hotel Transylvania and how it ties back into children's media. And let's get into it. So, the movie was released by Sony Pictures in 2012, and by all standards, it was considered a success. It brought in over $350 million on a budget of about $80 million. And this is significant because at the time, the big box office for animation was DreamWorks, Disney, and Pixar. So it was Sony kind of putting itself out into the market and coming out with a huge hit. It also is coming out during a time when like the kids horror and spooky movies are very popular. So it came out shortly after Monster High was released, and that's like the spooky Frankenstein and zombie dolls for kids mostly, or for girls mostly. And then it kind of follows in Tim Burton's steps of like Frankenweenie, Corpse Bride, and movies like that, but it makes it much more colorful and a little less like dark looking. So the movie uses horror in a with horror monsters um, for So the movie introduces children to classic horror monsters. The main character is Dracula, who like we know as adults to be like a scary vampire. It has Frankenstein in there. It's got mummies. So it has all kinds of monsters that children would normally be afraid of, but it's portraying them in a and comedic way, and it's making it more child friendly, just by exaggerating some features and just rounding off some of those like scarier edges, but keeping the essence of the monster. It follows Dracula, Drac, and his teenage daughter, who we learn is not actually a teenager. She's 118 years old, but by vampire standards, she's still 18, turning 18. And it tackles the growing children growing up into their own persons, becoming independent, and how a parent must let go and their feelings on the matter of their children growing up. And it just voice Adam Sandler, so parents can watch it with their kids. He's very family oriented, and Selena Gomez plays his daughter Mavis. So off the screen, children could still associate with a like a teen or younger star. Theory and topics that it covers from the lectures. It covers death and taboo topics. The story covers the loss of a parent. Mavis's mother tragically dies at the hands of a mob, and we see that like the first couple of minutes of the movie, and it's brought back several times. It's not something that they just mention once. It's talked about, and we learned from the lecture with Dr. Laman that death is a taboo topic, and we don't like to talk about it. But in the movie, Drag actually uses words like she died and she was killed to describe her death, her passing. It's not something that's glossed over. So, children and the audience is being told what happened, how it happened, without saying, like, oh, she went off to a better place or she passed away tragically. Accusations are used, and it's very like meaningful because it makes her death more impactful. Like, she died, she was killed, and as a result, this is what happened. Moving on. So, kids as individuals. The movie portrays kids as like being individual thinkers and having room for their own ideas. So Mavis is shown as 18. She doesn't see herself as a child anymore. She is an adult. By adult standards, she is now considered an adult because she is of age. But it is something that her father does not agree with because she is still, to him, his baby. And it goes on to just show their dynamic, how she seems rebellious, but it's just her trying to make her own choices and make her own decisions and live her own life. And it just shows both parents and adults that children can make decisions. They should be allowed to make decisions. And as a parent, you should stand by them and help guide them in those decisions. And so the show or the movie overall also targets children. It made some merchandise, so it ties into the children as consumers because it was targeted to kids as it came out. So kids were going in begging parents to buy the tickets, to get the merchandise, to get the shirts, to get the action figures. And eventually, it actually did become a franchise. So there's a second, third, and a fourth movie, all kind of navigating similar ideas of like monsters being accepted into society, accepting someone different, but it still has that like scary, spooky monster, like they live in Transylvania up in a castle. And again, it shows the kids that it is okay to be different. We should accept everyone that's different, and everybody belongs in a place. And that is it. Thank you.